With Elon Musk recently having completed yet another test flight for one of his mega rockets, this time in the form of Starship, there is once again the kind of palpable excitement for space travel we might not have seen since 1969. While other billionaires have designs of their own for space exploration, no one has really generated as much buzz as our friend Elon. That might be because he's actually laid out a comprehensive timeline for when we can set up a self-sustaining colony on the Red Planet. Going into the new year, he wants to send around 5 uncrewed Starship rockets to Mars to prepare for the very first manned mission to get boots on the ground by 2030 and a self-sustaining colony around 2050. Ambitious targets, however you slice it, but is it possible? It's no secret that space travel is expensive. That's the reason NASA scrapped further trips to the moon after 1972. The resources involved just made it all a logistical nightmare, and years later, Musk and SpaceX might be running into the same issues, even if they've made leaps and bounds in making the whole thing cheaper. With reusable rockets and craft, space travel is supposed to be cheaper than ever, with trips in the near future hopefully costing in the tens of millions. That's still a pretty penny to most people, but in the grand scheme of things, that's nothing. The biggest hurdle for Elon is the resistance he's faced from the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, who have been throwing the rulebook at SpaceX for years now. Regulations, red tape, and just general nagging about environmental impacts on Earth and Mars means the FAA have been a real thorn in the side of Elon and anyone else enthusiastic about space travel. Admittedly, Elon hasn't always taken the diplomatic approach. Crude jibes at Twitter, spats and accusations of politically motivated sabotage haven't always endeared him to the FAA. When you add on top of that the $633,000 lawsuit fine the agency threw his way, let's just say SpaceX and the FAA don't exactly see eye to eye. There are also logistical challenges to consider. To save fuel, it makes sense to launch missions when Mars and Earth are at their closest, every 26 months, which limits the number of possible trips you can make while increasing the importance of getting everything right on each mission. There is no margin for error. Just one round trip could take months and possibly years, allowing for potential issues. Could a small crew of just 12 intrepid astronauts set up a reliable base on the planet to allow for future exploration by 2030? Sadly, I don't think this is likely. Should we give up all hope? Absolutely not. While some may dismiss the idea of Mars colonization as an egotistical pipe dream, others such as myself think this is a crucial step to secure the future of humanity. If we are to keep expanding the boundaries of human knowledge and potential, then this is a plunge we must take. There is a saying that you should aim for the stars, because even if you miss, you still land on the moon. While you shouldn't take this analogy too seriously in this case because we're obviously shooting for Mars, the point still stands when you consider Musk's timeline. The man has a bit of a track record of setting out deadlines and not quite hitting them, but he almost always hits them eventually. There's nothing wrong with setting high expectations because it's our duty as humans to do these things specifically because they're hard and glorious. So, while I don't think 2030 is a realistic goal, I think it's admirable and important to set targets like that. And while I don't think we'll see boots on the ground in the near future, wouldn't it be amazing to think that within the lifetime of you and me, we might one day be sipping tea in the observation deck of a Mars-based hotel or space station, watching our children play, and maybe conduct experiments out on the ground, as the next generation of enterprising planetary explorers? I think we have to be optimistic about this mission for space because space truly is the next frontier, and if we decide to, we really can write our own destiny across the stars, even if it takes a bit longer to get there.